So I hope I'm not too late on this. I'll give you my opinions and a couple of my friends' opinions when how long should you wait for a doe to kindle. So for me, I wait for my does to kindle around day 37 before I decide that they haven't been bred. So I give them like a full week past due before I'm like, okay, they didn't catch, and I rebreed them to a buck. I have friends that have larger breeds that wait till day 42. Now, some of these people might be Flemish breeders, so they kind of wait for the babies to cook a little longer. My bird is having a hissy fit because I just changed his paper lining. This was all picked up and cleaned like 10 minutes ago. This has turned into a Rick video. Samantha's tray, Rick's tray. But anyways, yeah, I would give them at least till day 37. Oh, look. A broody hen who's been stealing all the eggs. Yay! She is currently sitting on 10 of them, including like 3 duck eggs. Joy of joys. So Vienna marked and Vienna carrying rabbits. Welcome to the gateway of blue-eyed whites. Now, I'm not sure if you mean mini Rex or if you're into lops or what kind of breed you're looking at. But first and foremost, if you are going to do Vienna marked or Vienna carrying, understand you're going to get a lot of unshowable animals. But why is that? Well, that's because the Vienna gene gives you some pretty weird things. Random white marks, icy blue eyes on rabbits that should not have icy blue eyes, such as black rabbits or let's say chocolate rabbits. Or right now I have a blue that has ice blue eyes because she is Vienna marked. Now, Vienna marked versus Vienna carrying. It's the same thing. The only difference is the Vienna mark is an outward appearance of the Vienna gene. But you won't know if it's a true Vienna marking until you test breed that animal to a blue-eyed white. If it's a true Vienna carrying rabbit, then it will produce blue-eyed whites when bred to a blue-eyed white. It's kind of like when you breed an animal to a roux to see what colors it actually carries, but more chaotic. But the idea is if you don't have a blue-eyed white, in order to get them, you need to breed Vienna carrying rabbits together to get these offspring. And the thing is if you are working with Vienna lines, understand that you are ruining those lines for a lot of breeders that are going to want to buy from you. All of my pedigrees that have Vienna carrying animals, I will put a VC, VM in on the lines. And if they ever produce a blue-eyed white, I go through and redo all my pedigrees to verify that if I do ever sell anything, somebody knows I do work with blue-eyed whites. Because it's not a fun gene to work with if you don't love it. My opinion when it comes to Vienna marked and Vienna carrying animals is don't do it. And this comes from a personal perspective of me being this kind of breeder. Unless you want a huge project with a very little gratification, stay away from Vienna markings, stay away from Vienna carriers. Stay away from boo lines. It's a lot of heavy culling. And let me tell you, I had a little boo. He was cute. I loved him. He was better than the last boo I had. But he still was not to the level of my other rabbits. Nowhere close. Now, I would take him to a show because he would be showable and I would want an outside opinion from a judge, but I would not expect him to win a class for best of breed. If there was a class of 10, I would probably expect him to be around 8. So yeah, Vienna markings are just odd little markings that are just out of SOP. Not worth it. So I saw this comment you made on a person I follow's TikTok, where she was talking about her meat rabbits. And I think what people fail to understand is that we quite literally bring these animals into existence to eat them. They are livestock. And the fact that we do what we are supposed to do with them is highly responsible. We use it to sustain our families and make sure that they are fed. And with the state that the world is in currently and the rising prices of food items, I'd say it's a pretty good option that we have to cull out these animals for food. It's not necessarily something everyone agrees with because they're cute and fluffy, but I think pigs and cows are cute. And sometimes fluffy. But just because you don't agree with somebody's methods and to feed their family doesn't mean that you have the right to tell them to stop. They have a responsibility to make sure that their family survives and flourishes. And if that's how they do it, then that's how they do it. And that's okay. Have you ever gotten in over your head on something, but you refuse to give up, and then you just want to pull your hair out because it always seems to be going wrong? It's kind of where I am, but I'm too stubborn to give up. So Hawk had a litter of 6. It had 2 smaller ones in it that passed away, okay. Then her milk production stopped, and we lost a baby to that. My little one likes to look at herself in the camera. So I moved the remaining kits to 2, my other doe that was in milk, and all but one of the kits just kind of faded away. So that was super frustrating. Thankfully, it was a litter out of Hawk and Freak, so I have that buck. Now I have 1 baby left of that litter, and it's a buck, which is very frustrating. I really need another doe. But also it's kind of good it isn't a doe, because do I really want to keep a doe out of a litter where mom isn't producing milk and it could be genetic? So that's frustrating. And make matters worse, they're coming out with blue tips. So I talked to a friend of mine who's a California breeder, and she says there's more to the black points than just being genetic. She suggested to put the animals into an air-conditioned unit. Y'all, I live up in the mountains. We don't have air conditioning. In the summer, we just open up our windows and it stays around 70, 75 degrees in the house. So I'd have to take my rabbits into the basement. So I gotta figure that out, and I'm working on it. And then Tati, my other doe, didn't catch last time. So I rebred her to George. I really need her to catch this time because George is no longer here because my friend took him to Arizona. But that is my secondary bloodline. My child just stole my filter. So I'm hoping she caught this time, because otherwise I'm screwed on another bloodline unless I go steal a buck from my friend next time I visit her. So yeah, my spite project's going. I haven't given up by any means. I've only been working on this for a few months. We're just off to a very slow start. Yeah, we can definitely do that for you, though I'm not sure if you mean in total in my barn or just from this weekend show. So I'll give you the 3 from this weekend show first. This is Moose. He is my senior Champagne de Argent. He is 3 years old and our only breeding buck. He's also a huge attention hog, super huge attention hog. Next we have Wiley. He is a 4-month-old silver fox junior buck, and he won 1 best of breed. But he definitely needs to work on his table manners. I look forward to finishing out his grand champion coming up in the next couple of months. Though it's probably going to take longer because he also needs to get some senior legs. And then this right here is my intermediate buck Eduardo, who won 2 best of breeds at this weekend show. He is starting to blow his coat on the back of his neck, and it is driving me nuts. I just hope that he sheds out a little better than his sister Raven is, because Raven's blowing out real ugly. But yeah, those are the 3 best of breeds that I got at this weekend show. I have more in the barn. And then I also have animals that have won best of group, best of variety, and that kind of thing. And also, if you didn't know, Moose has a couple of best of shows as well. And so does Strawberry. So if y'all want to see all of those rabbits, I'd be happy to do that as well. So you are spot on. Vienna markings do leave an animal to be DQ'd from a show. In the SOP, it is very specific that you can't have random white spots on your animal unless they're broken, and they can't have those mismatched eyes. So for instance, if you have a chocolate animal with those ice blue eyes, it's a DQ because it's out of standard. Which is why a lot of times for new breeders, I push them away from the idea of blue-eyed whites. I might have 3 or 4 Vienna marked animals that would get me DQ'd in order to get 1 blue-eyed white, because you have to breed those Vienna carrying parents together in order to get a blue-eyed white. Now later down the line, you could just breed blue-eyed white to blue-eyed white, but because the color has not been worked on and it's such a recessive kind of color, it's very hard to work on type unless you are bringing in outside animals from a different program. So for instance, I use a lot of black rabbits and broken black rabbits because they are one of the most well-developed colors in mini Rex. So I'll take that rabbit, breed it to a blue-eyed white to get a Vienna marked rabbit. Then I can either take that Vienna marked rabbit and breed it back to the blue-eyed white, or I can take two Vienna marked animals, breed them together for a blue-eyed white. It takes me 2 to 3 generations to improve a blue-eyed white through non-showable animals. It's a lot of work for little reward. The other problem with Vienna marked animals is you see a lot of backyard breeders using the Vienna gene as a way to sell more kits. The ice blue eyes on inappropriate colors is cute. The random white marks are cute. The non-show quality blue-eyed whites are easy to sell. It's frustrating because I will see sales of these animals that aren't the quality that I produce even through my non-showable animals for sale, and it really hurts the development of the blue-eyed whites. So yeah, Vienna marked animals are non-showable, but they have a purpose. So we actually have 2 parrots, and you'll have to excuse how funny they look. They just got out of the shower. This is Rick. He is my military blue and gold macaw mix. He is a butthead, but we love him so much. And then this is Samantha. She is our cockatoo. And she's a good girl. She's a pretty girl, pretty girl, pretty girl. Oh, so pretty. Rick, can I get a little wave? Oh, it's a perfect wave. But Rick is the one you normally hear in videos because he is very much so an attention hog. He is currently working on his colors and numbers. I have a feeling I'm never going to be able to flight train him because he thinks he's a tiny little velociraptor that needs to stalk the floors. So we chatted in the comments a little bit, and you said you wanted something that was dual purpose from the standpoint of you could use them in a show or for meat, and I have a couple of options for you here in the barn, but with that being said, there are some pros and cons to all of them. Champagne d'Argents are amazing from a standpoint of they are a nice solid meat rabbit. The bucks are extremely friendly. The does not so much. They have about medium-sized litters, and unfortunately they only come in a standard color, but I do enjoy how easy it is to decipher type on them because you're not so worried about color. Silver fox are your next option. They're very similar to the Champagne d'Argents in type and size, but they are much more friendly, and as a bonus, they come in a few different colors and you can have a bit of more of a rainbow selection. And again, these guys are super sweet, super easy to handle. Right now only blacks and chocolates are showable, but they are working at getting blues certified in the ARBA. So as soon as they are, I have this little lovely girl who is going to go to show and compete. You have your classic Californians. I don't like them. They're very spastic, but if you're just looking for like straight meat rabbits that are like tanks that you want to show, these guys are awesome from a standpoint of they grow out extremely quick and they have huge litters. So if you only want to show once or twice a year, but you're mainly in it for meat, perfection, go for it. Isn't that right, Hawk? Hawk doesn't like me. Next, you can try Rex. They are a more popular meat breed. They are slower growing, but they come in a variety of colors. I have a black otter, a chocolate otter, a variety of brokens and babies, and a chinchilla. But they come in like a lot more colors. So if you want something with more color and more variety, Rex is definitely the way to go. But they do grow out a lot slower in comparison to my silver fox, my Californians, and my champagnes. Overall, I think silver fox are a great place to start because of how easy they are to handle and the slight bit of variety you could have if you do want some coloration. Plus, I'd love to have more people breed them because they are a rare heritage breed and it's really fun to see people get into them again. So for those of you who have not met Gigi, this is Gigi. and I will show you the bottom of his little feet. So this is the bottom of a rabbit's foot, and as you can see, it has this very, very thick fur covering over the foot pads, which allow them to stand on any kind of wire surface without having much of an issue. In fact, because this fur is so thick, when you put them on solid cage bottoms, what can happen is this fur gets wet and it doesn't properly dry, which can cause all kinds of health issues and sore hocks and that kind of thing. So that's the bottom of Gigi's feet. They're very, very fluffy. Okay, so when it comes to standard or perfection, when you're talking about blues, they should have a blue-gray eye in order for them to be appropriate to the SOP and showable. If you have an ice blue eye, that's out of standard and could possibly be a type of Vienna mark. With that being said, I have 2 kits in the same litter that have a blue-gray eye, and then one that also has that icy blue eye, and I'm going to see if I can show you the difference real quick. So here is our Vienna marked baby with a very bright icy blue eye, which is against SOP because it should not be that color. And this is a blue just like you talked about with the rabbit you're picking up. So if it is this color with these eyes, the nice bright blue eyes, then you are correct in saying that it is a DQ. Okay, I lied. I don't have one with blue-gray eyes in that litter, so let me run inside and go grab Gigi. Compared to Gigi, who has a blue-gray eye. And if you still are kind of confused, here is a picture of all of the eyes in the SOP.